6 assassins. 6 contracts. $6 million. One catch. Every single person on the kill list is also holding a contract on you. That's the game. And before Morgan Gaines has had time to decide whether he's even playing, the game has already started. Because someone built the board a long time ago, placed all the pieces, and sent the opening move before anyone knew there was a board. Assassin Club is a 2023 action thriller that doesn't fully get the credit it deserves. And I think that's because people watch the first 20 minutes expecting something pulpy and disposable and then get blindsided by the third act, which turns out to be considerably smarter than the packaging suggests. It has the bones of a John Wick knockoff and the soul of something more interested in who these people actually are underneath the contracts and the clean headshots and the professional detachment. Let's get into it. We open in Ljubljana, Slovenia. A girl and her father are in their apartment. He's giving her her mother's wedding ring to wear to some occasion, something tender and ordinary in the middle of an otherwise complicated life. And then men with guns come through the door. Run. Find my brother. She runs. He doesn't make it. That image, a man with a wedding ring and a daughter and a moment of something gentle, cut off by violence, is the film's first move, and it's a deliberate one. It's planting a seed that won't flower until Act 3, when you finally understand whose story this actually is and why everything that follows was set in motion. Hold on to it. Morgan Gaines is a contract killer. A good one. One of the best, which is not a description the film offers with pride so much as with the weariness of a man who has been very good at something for a very long time and has started to wonder what that actually costs. He's operating in Ljubljana right now, targeting a man named Luka Lesek, a human trafficker running the largest operation of its kind in Eastern Europe. Women and children mostly. Morgan does this from a rooftop with a rifle and a bone-dry line from his handler Caldwell in his earpiece, who is somehow simultaneously running operational support and recommending bars. Goes wrong. Not because Morgan fails, he doesn't. But someone else is on the same roof with the same target, and when the dust settles, Morgan has a bullet in his body and Lesek is dead from someone else's hand, and he doesn't know why any of this happened. He goes home to Sophie. Sophie is the kind of woman who calls Morgan on video chat when he's out of town because she doesn't sleep well without him. She buys wilted flowers because she prefers them to the fresh ones. This one looks like it's had a rough life like you wouldn't believe, and she has a cereal box with a secret decoder ring that Morgan is absolutely going to use, he says, to figure things out. Like why he deserves her. Easy, he says. I don't. This relationship is the emotional spine of the film, and I want to spend a moment on it because it's not written the way love interests usually get written in movies like this. Sophie isn't decorative. She's curious and sharp, and she notices things. She notices the bruise Morgan explains away as a motorcycle accident. She notices that his explanations always have a slight vagueness at the center where the truth should be. She notices the way he reads people. 4 years and I still don't know how you do that, she tells him, watching him predict a stranger couple's next move on a restaurant terrace. You just have to piece the threads together, he says. The film notes, quietly, that this skill is exactly what's about to save his life and destroy the comfortable fiction he's been living inside. Caldwell is Morgan's handler. Has been for years. Found him after the Royal Marines. Offered him the chance to kill bad people for money in the service of something that at least looked like justice. He's charming and avuncular and calls Morgan dear boy, and recommends gyoza in the middle of difficult conversations. He is, in the oldest tradition of mentor figures in action films, not entirely what he appears. He tells Morgan about the new job. Not one contract, 6. 6 separate targets, each paying $1 million, $6 million total. The client specifically requested Morgan. And when Morgan tries to decline, he's been shot, he's tired, he's thinking about a life that looks like Sophie and a serial decoder ring and maybe stopping. Caldwell tells him something that changes the calculation entirely. Fact is, Morgan, they were coming for you whether you accept it or not. Because here's the thing about the 6 contracts. All 6 targets are assassins. Professional killers, each one. And they've all received the same package. 6 contracts, $1 million each, 6 targets to eliminate. And every single one of them is on everyone else's list. Morgan has been hired to kill the other 5. The other 5 have been hired to kill Morgan. And each other. It's a closed circle, a deadly game, and someone with enough money and patience and intelligence built it from scratch and then lit the fuse. Caldwell tells him he's in now. Morgan says he didn't agree to anything. Caldwell points out that Dracos, the assassin who shot him in Slovenia, was already one of the contracts, and the bullet Dracos put in Morgan counts as a completed job. Good result. Only 5 to go. Morgan sits down for the gyoza. Here are the remaining 5 because the film gives them each a profile and each one is interesting in a different way. And some writer. A ruthless psychopath, which the film states plainly and then demonstrates. His signature: he takes a finger from each victim. A souvenir. He is the kind of danger that doesn't negotiate. Pablo Martinez. A poisoner who hasn't worked in 10 years. Disappeared after a job in Prague went wrong. He used thallium sulfate in a target's coffee, botched the dosage. The man survived with his hair falling out and a hole in his throat to help him breathe. Martinez went to the hospital chapel and sat there and wasn't sure if he was praying for the man or himself. Then he vanished into the countryside with a 4-year-old daughter and a dead wife and a home phone that only 10 people have the number for. He is, when Morgan finds him, the most human person in the film. A killer who quit, who grew a conscience late, whose nightmares stopped when his daughter was born. He colors pictures with her. He lets her pick whatever cup she wants for milk. Yuko. Deadly with blades in close combat. No armor. Her only weakness, if you can call it that, is that she moves light and fast and counts on no one hitting her before she hits them first. Demir. Opportunistic sociopath, locked up in a maximum security prison in Bosnia. Finding him is simple. Access is not. And Falk. This is the name that the whole film turns on. No photos. No patterns. No positive identification. Just a trail of bodies and cover-ups that are only possible, Caldwell says, if Falk is working from within the intelligence community. The ghost in the machine. The one Morgan can't find because Falk has been very careful for a very long time, not to be found. Morgan doesn't go through the list in order. He investigates. He pulls threads. He confronts Caldwell with evidence that the Slovenia shooting wasn't random, that Caldwell had been running Dracos as well, that he knew about the 6 contracts before Morgan left for Ljubljana, that he fed Dracos Morgan's location and essentially put them both on the same roof to let the better one survive. You chose him. No, I chose you. I set it up in the full and certain knowledge that you would win. It's the most Caldwell sentence in the film. The logic of a man who has spent decades treating people as instruments and has rationalized every move as being in service of the greater good. He genuinely believes this. He genuinely believes Morgan is the gold standard, the best, and that the game required a proving round. The fact that Sophie was nearly hit by the same bullet doesn't register the way it should. Morgan walks out. He has more pressing things to deal with. The investigation leads Morgan to a French police inspector named Leon, who has been receiving fingers in a postal box in Paris. A mailed finger arrives, a fake obituary gets published in Le Monde confirming receipt, and within days a detailed file on every assassination that person ever committed lands on Leon's desk. He's been working with whoever is running this game, essentially serving as an unwitting clearinghouse for evidence against the assassins. He's been using the name Mot, Egyptian goddess of justice. She weighs the hearts of the dead to determine if they're too heavy with evil to reach paradise. Leon is legitimately trying to do something good. He's being played like a violin and doesn't know it yet. Morgan and one of the surviving assassins, I won't name them yet because the identity is part of the film's architecture, make an uneasy alliance when they both arrive at the same conclusion. The last assassin standing won't be free to enjoy the money. The puppet master will tie off the last loose end personally. The only way out is to find whoever built the board and burn it down before the game finishes. Unless we help each other find the person who's holding our strings. What follows is the film working its best trick. Every time you think you know who Falk is, the ground shifts. The clues point somewhere, then somewhere else, then somewhere that makes you realize the film has been slightly ahead of you the whole time. I want to stop and talk about the Pablo Martinez sequence, because I think it's the best scene in the movie and it doesn't get nearly enough attention. Morgan tracks Martinez to his countryside house. A retired assassin who walked away from everything, living quietly with his daughter. Morgan comes in as a threat. May 5th is going to go down in your daughter's memory as the last day she saw her daddy alive, and extracts what he needs. But while he's doing it, something happens. The daughter comes in. She wants to color. Morgan ends up sitting at a kitchen table coloring with a 4-year-old while her father talks about the job in Prague that ended his career, about sitting in a hospital chapel not knowing who he was praying for. The daughter offers Morgan blue, her favorite color, but it's okay if he uses it. He says thank you. She says blue's his favorite too. This is an assassin at a kitchen table doing arts and crafts with a child while her father confesses his guilt across the table. And the film plays it completely straight, without irony, without winking at the camera. Morgan stays gentle. He protects them both when the threat arrives. And when he leaves, nothing has been resolved except that 2 men who have spent their lives in the business of killing sat in a kitchen with a 4-year-old and were briefly, quietly, something other than what their files say they are. It's a small scene. It's the movie's heart. The reveal, when it comes, recontextualizes everything. including that opening scene of a girl running from men with guns while her father called after her. The girl was Jonna. Her father was Yakov Illich, founder of a massive gas pipeline empire in Eastern Europe. Her uncle, Mariusz Illich, the man who would eventually win a parliamentary bid and seize control of the empire, had her father killed, paid an assassin, covered his tracks, and then kept Jonna close, paraded her out as the poor orphan he saved, and let her watch him build power on the foundation of her father's murder. Jonna discovered the truth. She traced her uncle's payments, found the network of assassins he'd hired over the years to eliminate anyone standing in his way. And she went to an intelligence agency with everything she had, evidence, money transfers, encrypted records, and put a plan together to expose all of it. The plan? Offer $6 million in contracts to the assassins. Use it as bait to lure them out of hiding. Use a postal system and fake obituaries to gather documented evidence of every killing they'd ever done. And when the game was over, arrest everyone who survived, including her uncle. It was, in its bones, a plan built on justice. Real justice, not just revenge. She wanted the entire network dismantled and on record. What Jonna didn't know was that the intelligence agent she handed everything to, Agent Voss, the woman who ran point on the operation, who helped her design it, who took her files and her evidence and her trust, was Falk. The assassin without a face. The one inside the intelligence community. The one who had been killing for Mariusz Illich all along, who now needed all evidence of that fact destroyed. Which meant the assassins. Which meant Jonna. Which meant everyone who had ever touched this thing. Falk took Jonna's plan, kept the $6 million, and turned it into a mechanism for eliminating everyone who could connect her to Mariusz Illich's crimes, while making it look like Jonna's operation. Everything she's done has led to either trying to kill me or for me to stand here and kill you. The final act moves fast. Ryder is on his way to Sophie, Falk told him, because Falk has been feeding information to everyone, playing every piece on every side. Morgan makes it in time, barely. Caldwell is poisoned by Falk, the old man who betrayed Morgan once and refused to do it again, who in his last hour told Falk that Morgan was his protégé just as Falk had been, and he wouldn't give her what she needed. His death is not a clean one. The film doesn't spare you that. Morgan and Ryder's confrontation is the action set piece the film has been building to, and it lands because by this point you know both of them well enough that the fight has stakes beyond choreography. Ryder is very good. Morgan is slightly better and slightly more motivated, which turns out to be enough. Falk is apprehended. Leon, who has been used as an instrument throughout without knowing it, finally sees the full picture. The agency files a report. Agent Voss died on a mission in Italy. Heart attack. Case closed. Of course it is. Jonna is left with something strange and incomplete. The truth about her father's death confirmed. Her uncle's empire beginning to fall. Evidence gathered, investigations opening. And the knowledge that the plan she built to do something good was turned inside out by the person she trusted most with it. That the $6 million she scraped together as bait never went anywhere. That Falk kept every cent. There's no triumphant moment for Jonna. There's just the truth, which is what she was always after, and whatever she decides to do with it now. Morgan goes back to Sophie. She's at the safe house. She asks if it's over. He says he hopes so. She says she doesn't like that answer. He has something to tell her. She has something to tell him first. It's a girl. And Morgan, who grew up with a dead mother and an absent father in foster care and a military and then years of professional killing and a mentor who betrayed him and a game he didn't choose to enter. Morgan hears that he's going to have a daughter, and the film gives him one completely unguarded moment. No performance. No tactical calculation. Just a man in a room with the woman he loves who is carrying his child, and the possibility of a life that looks nothing like the one he's been living. He says, "Stupid kid." Which, in context, is maybe the most tender thing in the movie. Here's what I keep returning to after Assassin Club. The film is doing something that action thrillers rarely bother to do. It's taking its character's interiority seriously. Morgan isn't just a body count with good aim. He's a man who sees threads in strangers' behavior because he spent his whole career doing exactly that, and who has slowly, quietly fallen in love with a woman who makes him want to use that skill for something other than contracts. Martinez isn't a villain to be dispatched. He's a man who quit and tried to become someone different and built something small and real and is terrified it's about to be taken from him. Jonna built a plan for justice out of grief and lost control of it. Even Caldwell, who betrayed Morgan twice in some sense, did it from a place of genuine affection that was warped by decades of treating people as instruments. The puppet master in this film isn't just a plot device. Falk is what happens when someone in the business of killing decides that self-preservation is the only value worth keeping. She is the logical endpoint of a world where loyalty is leverage and information is currency, and no one is safe from the person who knows the most about them. Morgan survives that world. Not because he's the best, though he is, but because he has Sophie, and the decoder ring, and a daughter who doesn't exist yet who he's already thinking about. You want to live, Falk tells him near the end. Not just survive but live. Well, care. It makes you vulnerable. It makes you weak. She says it like it's an insult. The film disagrees. Make sure to subscribe and turn on notifications so you don't miss more videos like this. Thanks for watching.